As we build up to the Finance Minister's speech at 2 p.m. this afternoon, let's find out what expectations are, and in particular, it's got to do with those who want him to announce further relief measures for businesses, particularly those that were impacted by the July 2021 unrest, the widespread violence and looting. It cost the KwaZulu-Natal economy millions of rands. Let's find out more now from Karinda Jagmohan, who is at the Business Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Karinda, what are businesses expecting there from the Finance Minister when he tables his budget later this afternoon?
Yes, you rightly put it. Many businesses affected by the July 2021 unrest, business on the ground, including the Durban Chamber of Commerce and Industry, calling for the budget speech to see more support for these businesses to build up as opposed to seeing more increases in various levies. I'm joined by the Deputy President of the DCCI, Gladwin Malishe. Thank you for speaking to us, sir.
Thank you.
You are telling us about an urge for the budget speech not to see further increase in levies. Tell me about this and how it's going to impact especially our small businesses.
Well, it's important that our government support business by not increasing the levies. It's time for recovery. So it's important that they're given space to use their money in order for them to boost their businesses, to boost their recovery at this stage. Because if there's an added pressure on their income streams and they have to pay more in terms of their levies, it will affect their plans in terms of their levies. For instance, if you look at companies that were affected by not just the July unrest but affected by the pandemic because of the lockdowns, like the tobacco, the alcohol guys, if you are increasing that, you are increasing the taxes on them, you are actually affecting them recovering well in order to come back, to the industry. Because if you are increasing that, you are actually adding more pressure, but you know what, you are not giving them anything. So it's important that the only way the government could actually support it is just not to increase the levies. Allow businesses to recover.
What is the state of our local businesses here in Durban under the umbrella of the DCCI? What have they been complaining about in the past year following the last budget speech?
Well, it's a lack of support, I would say. For instance, if you look at issues like electricity, Eskom, which is now and again you have load shedding, it's affecting their production, it's affecting their factory lines. So it's important that we have a support. A support would be our government being transparent in terms of what is happening in terms of Eskom, being transparent, and let us be involved in terms of how do we renew or bring the renewable energy into space, as our president has actually said, but we need implementation of that. So that will come from the budget. If the budget needs to speak to what the president was saying. So that's what we're actually looking into, because the issue of water also is a problem. The issue of infrastructure is a problem. The issue of the Ngokubona, the issue of site invasion. We have seen the High Court had a problem in a few weeks. Also the N3 upgrade, they also had visitors, unwelcome visitors. We need to know where we are in terms of government. Do we have protection from government? It's important for businesses. That's why you're going to attract investment into the country.
On that note about investments, do you think we have enough investment into the province, into the city from national government for us to boost the opportunities we have in the city?
Well, I think there is a very keen interest, not only for South Africans, but also international players who want to come and invest. But they need certainty in terms of policy. When it comes to BE, some of them are still confused. Are we having a BE? What about these guys who are coming and invading site? Because if somebody comes and invades your site, it means now you've got to pay penalties because work is not done. So what does it mean to investors into the country? It affects their profitability. So it's important that we play along, with government, and government play along with us, that we speak with one language. When we are saying we are attracting investors, let us all work together on that. Let us all deal with the problems that are coming up due to the fact that people are not employed. How do we make sure that we increase employment between government and the private sector? So these are the things that need to be addressed, because if you're not addressing the issue of the employment, it means you are increasing chances of strikes now and again. You are increasing chances of instability, in the country. So hence why we are saying let's work together. The budget must speak to those things.
So what about small businesses in Durban? Is there enough support, especially for those that had their businesses completely destroyed in July last year?
Well, it's not enough. That I will say we are trying. We have seen the government trying, but also as a private sector, as DCCI, we have also engaged the Old Mutual and other foundations in order to come together and assist mainly those who did not have any form of insurance whatsoever, to make sure that they are able to start their businesses all over again. Also, not only that, but to also have classes where they could come and learn how to do their business much more better than they were doing it before. So we need that collaboration to continue between the private sector as well as municipalities as well as the whole national government. Because if we are not connected in working that out, everyone is going to be going to their own side, and then we're not going to meet each other on the way.
Let's end with this. Outside of the budget speech, we may have young entrepreneurs watching. What is your advice as the DCCI for them going forward to build up in the coming year as we are awaiting the budget speech?
Well, there's ample opportunity in South Africa. Whether you talk of energy, you talk of entertainment, you are talking of manufacturing, there's ample opportunity in South Africa. They must build their business cases. They must research. They must do more in terms of trying to get into the industries they want to get into, but also be part of organizations such as like the Durban Chamber of Commerce and Industry, because they've been there for years. There are many people who are expertise in different industries that they can engage with in terms of learning more, but also get closer to the government, get closer to the funding mechanisms that they have, but work together with us in making sure that we are able to open doors, because in some other instances, government needs us to tell them, these are the red tapes that you need to deal with. This is the challenges that the entrepreneurs are facing. So let's work together in making sure those all avenues are open for SMMEs to come through. But the opportunities are big. Let's allow young people to come and start their businesses. It's the only way to create employment.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. A wealth of information from Mr. Godongwana, the Deputy President for the Durban Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Speaking about what is anticipated, he says this is the time for businesses to receive the help to rebuild, as opposed to increasing levies on fuel and, of course, consumer tax. One thing that businesses are watching out for, but also going forward to invest in increasing and improving infrastructure to allow for international investment and ultimately boost businesses on the ground, especially for young entrepreneurs. He says the opportunities to boost employment out there for young people are endless in our country. That is, of course, Mr. Godongwana from the Durban Chamber of Commerce and Industry ahead of the budget speech this afternoon.
Karinda, Jagmohan, thank you very much for that update. Well, I'll tell you that at the top of 11, we are going to latch on to that business conversation and talk to Andile Khumalo. This is someone who knows what it is or what it's like to start a business from scratch. So, what do small businesses need to hear?